be a sponge, and then bring the juice.
By focusing on your improvement, by focusing on your progress, and eliminating any fixed mindset that you may have and acts of perfectionism, then you encourage your own mastery.
On some level, we do what we want to do 24 hours a day. Now, sometimes it may not seem like that, but if I'm choosing to work instead of sleep, what I'm actually saying is keeping my job is more important than sleeping.
I'm tired of this. I'm tired of getting beat. What can I do to get over this hump? So mentally, that's when I kind of put that forefront, like, hey, it's either all or nothing.
I like to put failure in quotations because I don't believe that failure is true failure if you're looking at it with the right mindset.
The truth is, the journey to greatness is hard. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes focus, and every day you have to decide what you value, what you want to pursue, and what you want to achieve. And if you dig deep enough, if you push hard enough, we all have what it takes to be great. Welcome to the Edge of Greatness. Hello and welcome to From the Edge. I hope you all had a fantastic week and accomplished some incredible progress towards your goals and dreams of achieving greatness. This week for me has been a little bit of a challenge, actually. So I've been dealing with some things at work that I don't really want to get into on this particular episode, but I will say that one of the other challenges for me is I've been working through some of the smaller and slower things when it comes to the accomplishments I'm trying to achieve. So I've been sending a lot of emails out this week trying to connect with some of the people who are going to be presenting at the Edge of Greatness Summit. That takes time. And it's one of those you don't immediately get responses because, let's be honest, the people that I'm trying to work with, they have other presentations they're giving. They're traveling. They're on vacation. They're working through their own projects. So there is a little bit of back and forth waiting, which is awesome that they're so busy and they're so successful and they're willing to work with me because that makes this event that much better. But it's also one of those things that's kind of challenging on this end where I want to make progress. I want to keep moving forward. I want to start to get some of these things lined up in an order. And that's the interesting dynamic with this. The other piece for me that I'm working on is the editing of the recent manuscript that I finished. The friend I gave the book to has returned it to me with feedback and some things that I should be working on. And if you know me at all, I despise editing. I don't know why exactly. I don't know where that pure hatred comes from, but I am very much against editing. It's awful to me. But I also know that it is an important part of presenting a clear message. It's a part of presenting a polished piece of work. And so it's something I'm going to have to continue to work through. And that's kind of been this week, which is tough because as somebody who likes to see progress being made, this week had very little. And I believe that as we get more into our journey towards greatness, we have to become very aware of these moments as still being positive. Because we're not always going to have huge steps. We're not always going to have big jumps forward in the results that we see in front of us. You know, I may not have written many words this week. I may not have had a huge jump in the progress of the actual story development, but I did clean some things up. I did clear up a few of the ideas that I was working on. I did create some better understanding of who the characters were through the editing suggestions. And then I also got some emails back that were very exciting and encouraging from some of the people who had said they were going to be a part of my project. These are all things that are exciting and positive towards our success and towards achieving greatness. But a lot of times I think we feel like if we're not making significant progress forward, we're not doing something right. There's just going to be times where we have to deal with the valleys, and I think that's one of the things that I learned this week, or was reinforced this week. I guess I already understood that a little bit, that we can't just constantly fly up the mountain. There's going to be some valleys, but it was a nice reminder that we're not always going to see huge progress in our every single day activities. The biggest thing we can do is keep showing up. The biggest thing we can do is keep putting in the work. And over time, I think those valleys become a little bit less deep. They take up a little less space in our lives, and we get out of them a little bit quicker. So I'll keep you posted on how I'm doing with my progress on this. I did get about halfway through the edits of the book, which is kind of exciting. So I guess now that I have the entire week done and I look back at what all I accomplished, it was a very productive week, even though it felt really slow while I was in it. And I think that would be my biggest takeaway for all of you out there. If you're in a slow moment, don't stop moving, don't stop going forward, but take a moment once you get to the end of the week and look back and see just how much you really did accomplish. Because I would bet it was more than you initially thought. Because when you were in that moment, it felt terrible. It felt slow. It felt like you were getting nowhere. But if you showed up every day and you were working through it, even though it felt slow and terrible, at the end of it all, you look back and you're like, well, I actually did make some decent progress. And I think that's another piece of all of this journey, is just to continue to show up, continue to put in the work, continue to be there, even when you don't want to, even when it's slow, even when it sucks, even when you have to edit. But as always, guys, keep reaching for the stars. Fall flat on your face, but remember, whenever we fall, always get up. Thank you for joining us today on the Edge of Greatness podcast. If you haven't yet, please take a minute now to subscribe and review our show. Join us again next week as we continue to dig deeper into the key components of greatness. The path to greatness is never linear, so remember to keep pursuing greatness no matter what. Keep stretching your abilities, reach for the stars, and fall flat on your face. But remember, no matter what happens, whenever we fall, always get up. Until next time, I'm Charles Schultz, and this was the Edge of Greatness podcast.